At the end of first week, we came to understanding that we are like a great target and absolutely unprotected. So in usual times, you would never move the data center in one night. Never. It's like forbidden. You have to plan it in advance and you have to execute it also for a long time. But we had no time, so we planned a special operation and executed it.
So I started leg 2 off with a real bang going to Ukraine. Going to a war zone was probably not the most intelligent decision I've made, but I'm really glad I did because Ukraine's doing such amazing stuff, really transforming the way government works. And I'm really excited to finally be able to share with you some of the conversations I had when I was there. Starting off with one of my favorites, my conversation with Victoria Iskovich. Victoria is the CIO for the City of Kyiv, and she tells the story about her first 6 weeks from the invasion. So when the invasion hit, she was CIO and still is CIO for the City of Kyiv, and she really tells in this interview what her and her team did for those first 6 weeks. Wild adventure. It could be a movie. Maybe it should be one day, a movie, a real adventure. But also within it are seeds of how you can really create transformation. So hopefully you enjoy this conversation as much as I did. Welcome to the Civic Punks podcast, although I guess I'm entering your space. This is your lovely office space here. We just had a really good conversation. There's a ton we could talk about. But I actually think in some ways the most interesting conversation is your experience as CIO here in Kyiv at the beginning of the war. Because that's just a wild time. Could you walk me through okay, so your country's getting invaded. What happens?
Your country is getting invaded, and from one perspective, you're like a person, usual person, and from other perspective, you're a civil servant. So it's like something you have to think in this time, not only about yourself, but what you can do in your specific position. You can always take the machine gun and go try to fight, but as long as you're a civil servant, you have. My position was CIO, and while I was managing some projects and products that could be useful for war times. So when the war started, the invasion started, we gathered from the day zero, we gathered a team of people in our city data center, and we basically lived there, slept there, lived there, and were working on transforming our civil usual, not wartime services for the wartime needs.
Well, I think one of the things that was interesting for me is so you're telling me that that morning you were driving the car, and instead of going to the office, you went to the data center.
Yeah.
What made you choose to go to the data center first?
I thought that I probably would be more useful there because it's closer to the systems, just physical feeling that you're closer to the systems, and basically we have more space there to gather the team. And what could I do here in just sitting on the office and calling some people on the phone? So yes, I went to the data center. I told you before, we have one of the first projects we did here was notification service about air raid alerts. We had before the war, we had the Kyiv digital application that was purely the transportation app, and it had about 1 million users for the time. Now it has 3.7 million users, almost all adult population of Kyiv city. It had 1 million for the time, so it was probably the most trusted channel of communication between the city and the citizens. And that time the siren system around the city, it was old Soviet Union time siren system, and it was not working properly. Now it's okay, and now you can hear siren from every corner of the city.
I have experienced it already just in the short time I've been here.
Yeah, but it was not this way, so we had to make the way to inform people about air raid alerts, and the Kyiv digital application was one of the best way to do this. So in a day, in 24 hours, we transformed it into the wartime application. First we put there air raid alert notification, we put there a map of shelters, bombing shelters, we put there the map of points of invincibility, so-called. It's points when you can get the heating, the electricity, etc. Mm-hmm. We put there evacuation flights, because the evacuation routes, because Kyiv was under the siege at the time, and you had only one way to the south to go if you want to evacuate from Kyiv. And after that we started, so the city was like, everything was closed just because, you know, nobody has instructions what to do in the war, and if you are like a shop owner, you just close your shop because you have no instructions. But there were still a lot of people in the city. Like the least amount of the people in the city was 700,000 in the end of March. It's still a lot. And we started to put in the applications the different maps of the shops, of drugstores, so the places that you need to survive in the city. We started with the drugstores, we started with the product shops, with car renovation places, and then we followed with just usual businesses like coffee shops, barber shops, or like hairstyling, etc.
Which I think is nice because it makes things, like during war, one of the hardest things is making things feel like a sense of normalcy. And so being able to go to your local shop is hugely helpful for just your mental health.
Yeah. I mean, it's not only about the mental health, but I mean, the city is living, and if you're still in the city, that you need different kinds of services to survive. Yes, and people are still in the city. Somebody can make your haircut.
Yes,
I mean, why not?
Well, but before you did all this, if my understanding is right, you went to the data center, which at that time was just in an office building. The first thing you did was you divided the data center and moved a section of it to a secure location.
We did it not the first time. We did it in a week because we were kind of relaxed. Missiles around. We are thinking about, okay, what new feature we can do to help people survive, etc.
Yeah.
And like at the end of first week, we came to understanding that we are like a great target and absolutely unprotected. So in usual times, you would never move the data center in one night. I mean, never. It's like forbidden. You have to plan it in advance and you have to execute it also for a long time. But we had no time, so we planned a special operation and executed it. I would say, taking into account the conditions we executed it perfectly. So we divided our data center and put the crucial services to the another place that is secured, that is like under the ground. It's a parking lot it was a parking lot in the shopping center. Now this shopping center is working perfectly, but this time it was closed, and we had our digital core of people, of technology and infrastructure on the parking lot of the shopping center, and we lived there for the next 1.5 months.
Like air mattresses, dogs. You were saying you were sleeping in your car.
Yeah, I was sleeping in my car, some people were sleeping in air mattresses. Of course, some people had their pets, their dogs with them, because, of course, if you're living.
So I'm assuming then you would have had, you set up internet, you had a Wi-Fi system there, everything.
Yes,
so you were working from this.
Yeah, we were working.
Actually,
I remember that we got probably one of the first Starlink in Kyiv. I personally took it from the train, from our main train station, and then we were trying to launch it from this shopping center. So now we all know that you have to put this Starlink terminal outside on the roof. We were a little afraid to go to the roof because there were people, our people, not Russian, our army, but was following the roof and shooting. So this shopping center, it has the glass ceiling, from the window. Yeah. And we were trying to launch it under this glass ceiling. It failed. It failed, but I remember I did it myself, and eventually we had to go to the roof of this shopping center and launch it there. Yeah, we had everything, internet connection, everything.
That's wild times. What was your biggest sort of lesson that you took away from those first couple months?
We worked as a distributed autonomous organization. We made our own decision. We were not waiting for the direction from, the central government. Central government, all governments, city governments, they worked a lot on different tasks. But in our situation, if we would sitting and calling them, okay, tell us what to do, it would be absolutely other results. So I think personally one of the reasons why Ukraine in general and Kyiv specifically survived these first times, that was that we made our own decisions, which goes definitely in some contradiction to how governmental public servants should do, but it's extraordinary steps that were made in extraordinary conditions. So I would say that thinking with our own head was one of the best lessons we get.
Well, amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your story and inspiring us all with it.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.